The dust storm slammed into Whitaker Ranch like a freight train on a sweltering Thursday afternoon. Dust devils whipped across the Kansas plains, tearing through the wheat fields and splintering the old barn like matchsticks. Elias Whitaker lay pinned under a fallen beam, blood seeping from a gash on his forehead, his vision blurring as chaos erupted around him. But his eyes locked on her Fiona O'Malley, the quiet Irish immigrant who'd been his housekeeper for just 5 months. Her red hair tangled in the wind, her skirt ripped and caked in dirt. She barked orders at the farmhands with a voice that cut through the roar. "Get the horses to the cellar. Move, you fools." She was no longer the shy girl who faded into the background. She was a force, commanding men twice her size. And now, she was about to vanish from his life forever. "You need a doc, Mr. Whitaker," she said, dropping to her knees beside him in the muck, her hands shaking as she pressed a rag to his wound. Elias grabbed her arm, his grip weak but desperate. "Don't go, Fiona. Please." She averted her eyes, her Irish lilt heavy with pain. "The whole town's whispering. They say I'm not fit for the likes of you." "Let him whisper," he rasped, ignoring the fire in his skull. But deep down, he wondered if the gossip, the threats, and the small-town bigotry had already shattered what they dared to build. If you've ever questioned whether love can survive the storm of judgment and hate, stick around. This tale will make you rethink everything. Spring dragged its feet into the Flint Hills of Kansas back in 1892. Elias Whitaker stared out his kitchen window at the new girl, Fiona something or other, an Irish name he mangled on his first try. She was pegging laundry on the line, moving like she owed the world an apology for existing. His wife, Sarah, had passed from consumption 6 years prior, leaving him with cold suppers and echoes in his sprawling 10,000-acre spread. He'd carved out a wheat empire from the prairie, but his calloused hands had lost the knack for tenderness. Fiona's English carried the burr of County Kerry, laced with caution. She cooked like a dream and scrubbed like she was wiping away her own shadow. For a month, Elias hardly registered her until that midnight downpour. Thunder rattled the windows, and he found her in the kitchen, flour dusting her apron, eyes red from silent tears. She was kneading dough in the flickering lamplight. "Can't sleep?" he asked, leaning in the doorway. She jumped, nearly upsetting the bowl. "Sorry, Mr. Whitaker. I bake when the rain comes. Reminds me of the famine back home, when we lost everything." Elias, at 55, felt a pang he'd buried deep. "My Sarah used to knit during storms. Kept her mind off the worries." Fiona paused, her hands still. "Did she make fine things?" "Terrible scarves," he chuckled faintly. "But she tried." In that moment, a spark ignited not passion, not yet, but a shared ache for what was gone. Come morning, a warm cherry pie waited on his table. It tasted like a second chance. As spring bloomed into summer, Elias started inviting Fiona to share supper at the table instead of eating alone in the back. She'd perch opposite him, hands clasped, answering in measured words. "Tell me about Ireland," he'd prompt. "Green as these hills, but wetter, wilder. I miss the sea, but Kansas. It's wide open, like a fresh start." Her eyes would soften. Elias got at Frontier was all about shedding old skins. Their fingers grazed when she refilled his coffee. She didn't flinch. The grip hit him hard in August, a fever that chained him to bed. Fiona nursed him like he was kin broths steaming with herbs, damp cloths on his brow, even reading faded newspapers from Topeka. On the fourth night, delirium gripping him, Elias clutched her wrist. "Stay with me. I'll stay till you're mended," she whispered. "Not just till then," he murmured, his gaze piercing through the haze. "Fiona, I need you." She touched his fevered cheek. "Elias." The way she said his name, soft and rolling, felt like redemption. When the sickness lifted, the air between them had shifted forever. But Elias Whitaker was a pillar in Ellsworth County, and Fiona O'Malley was the hired help. Folks said some divides weren't meant to be bridged, and they were about to learn just how vicious that could get. Mrs. Hargrove from the Ellsworth Savings Bank spotted it first. Fiona's dresses had upgraded from calico to finer muslin, her stance bolder, like she knew her worth. "That Irish girl's getting uppity," Mrs. Hargrove hissed to her bridge club. "Elias Whitaker's playing the fool." Rumors spread like prairie furry the mercantile. Conversations hushed when Fiona entered. Women sneered behind fans. Men leered with crude interest. Elias shrugged off the talk, but it gnawed at him for her sake. "We could keep it hushed," he suggested one twilight on the porch, the sun dipping behind the rolling hills. Fiona met his eyes. "Ashamed of me, are you?" "Never," he growled. "But this county's got its ways who belongs with who." She laced her fingers with his. Back in Ireland, Maid was a fisherman, poor as dirt, but he wed a schoolteacher's daughter. Folks said she was too fine for him. They had 40 years of joy. "This ain't Ireland." "No," she shot back, fierce. "This is Kansasland of the free," or so they claim. The county fair in September flipped the script. Elias hadn't shown his face at a social since Sarah's wake, but he strode in with Fiona on his arm, she in a sapphire gown that turned heads. The fiddle music stuttered, jaws dropped, stares burned like brands. "Evening, neighbors," Elias said coolly. "Fine night for dancing." The band resumed, but the venom simmered. Men lined up to whirl Fiona around some polite, others groping with entitlement. Buck Harlan, the biggest wheat baron after Elias, held her too tight during a reel. "Easy there, Buck," Elias boomed across the floor. Harlan smirked. "Just welcoming your Maid." The slur hung heavy. Fiona pulled away, flushed. "I need some air." Outside by the corral, she gripped the rail, tears threatening. "They see me as nothing but help." Elias loomed behind her. "You're more than that to me." She whirled. "I'm fallin' for you, Elias, but this world's cruel." He cradled her face. "Then let's face it together." Their kiss under the stars was electric, her lips yielding, his hands steady. But small towns don't forgive easily. Come dawn, the backlash hit. A posse of Ellsworth's elite Mayor Wilkins, Banker Hargrove, Sheriff Donnelly, and a few more rode up to the ranch at sunup. Hats low, faces stern. "We gotta talk, Elias," Mayor Wilkins called. Elias stepped out, coffee in hand, casual but coiled. "About what?" "Upholding standards," Sheriff Donnelly barked. "Kansas is pushing for progress. We can't have scandals." "Scandal?" Elias's tone iced over. "You mean who I court on my own land?" Banker Hargrove spat. "That immigrant girl's beneath you fresh off the boat. No family, no standing." From the window, Fiona heard every word, her heart twisting. Elias's fists balled. "You've got 5 seconds to ride out before I lose my temper." They scattered, but the warning lingered like smoke. That night, Fiona found Elias brooding over bourbon in his study. "I heard him. I'll quit, Elias. Find a proper match." The words gutted him. Like hell. He surged up, seizing her arms. "You think I care about their bull? You're my world now." She wept, but hope flickered. He kissed her fiercely, lifting her, carrying her to his room. Lamplight danced on her skin as he unlaced her bodice, her breath quickening. "Elias," she gasped, unbuttoning his shirt. Then crash. Shouts outside, horses stampeding. They froze. Flames licked the night. Someone had torched the grain silo. Elias grabbed his shotgun, racing out. By morning, the silo was ash, his best seed stock ruined. A scrawled note, "Send the foreigner packing." Fiona stood in the ruins, guilt crashing over her. "This is my fault." "No," Elias snarled. Cowards did this. But while he rallied the hands, she packed and fled toward town. He caught her 4 miles out, yanking her into an embrace. She pounded his chest. "Let me go. I'll bring you ruin." "You bring me life," he countered, holding firm. She sagged, sobbing. "What if they come for you next?" "Let him." 3 weeks later, the twister struck. Fiona was airing linens when the sky turned black, a funnel cloud barreling down. She hollered for the hands, then dashed to the barn where Elias tended a lame colt. Winds howled, roof timbers groaning. Elias shoved her toward the root cellar as a beam crashed down, crushing his leg. "Elias!" she screamed into the void. When the storm cleared, she dug him out, barking commands. "Fetch boards for a splint." "Now!" The men obeyed her without question. Elias woke 2 days later in the doc's office in Ellsworth, Fiona's weary face hovering. "You're back." She smiled through exhaustion. "Farm's holding. I managed." He groped for her hand. "Marry me, Fiona. You're addled from the knock." "Clear as day," he insisted, sitting up despite the agony. "I want you as my wife." Tears flowed. The town. To hell with him. She searched his eyes. "Yes. Yes, Elias." They were the next morning in Sheriff Donnelly's office, the same man who'd warned him off. Fiona, in her sapphire dress, Elias bandaged but beaming. Donnelly's wife witnessed, lips pursed, but even she softened at the kiss. "You may kiss your bride," Donnelly grumbled. By spring 1893, Fiona Whitaker misses. Elias Whitaker stood on the rebuilt porch, hand on her rounding belly, watching her husband break a new Mustang. O'Malley's Bakery had opened in Ellsworth post-wedding. At first, the proper folk boycotted the Irish upstart, but her scones and pies won them over. Even Mrs. Hargrove conceded they were the best east of the Rockies. Elias, at 56, graying but vital, swung down from the horse. "How's our little one?" "Kicking like a mule," she laughed. "A boy. I reckon stubborn as his pa." He enveloped her. "Regret the hell we went through?" She pondered. It had been brutal whispers turned to threats, friends lost, but they'd emerged stronger. The ranch prospered, Fiona's shop thrived, and Elias chaired the county board. "The real folks stood by us," he said. "The rest? Dust in the wind. I love you, Elias Whitaker. And I you, Fiona." As the sun set over the golden fields, perfumed with blooming wildflowers, Fiona knew she'd claimed her piece of the American dream. What do you think, does love really conquer prejudice and class divides? Or is society too stacked against it? Drop your take in the comments below. Share if you face something similar or why you side one way or the other. Let's debate this.